Hello everybody, we're about to make Matza Brei, my grandmother's recipe, my Omi, who passed away just over a year ago. But a few years ago I was with her in the kitchen and she explained to me the entire recipe from beginning to end. So let's start. What are we going to need? We're going to need matzah, of course, a bowl, some milk, eggs, something to mix the eggs in, frying pan with a flipper, oil, and eventually maybe some syrup and sugar and cinnamon. Okay, right. So let's talk about amounts. Very important. You have to get the amounts right or the consistency will be wrong. It's 1.5 matzahs per egg, and that is per portion. Now, you can make more than one portion in the batter, but do not fry more than one portion at a time, otherwise you will not get the consistency right. 1.5 matzahs over here. We start by taking the matzah and breaking it up. Now when we break it up, we don't quite want matzah farfel, but we do want small pieces. We do not want big pieces of matzah. So if we have a look at the matzah here, we're breaking it up, remember, wash your hands very well, especially in these days, before you start the recipe. You want to break it up small, but still recognizable as matzah, meaning not matzah farfel and not matzah meal. The bigger you leave it, the more chance of it breaking up while you're frying it. The smaller you make it, the more chance of it maintaining one solid state. There are different Matza Brei recipes out there, and there are many Matza Brei recipes that do not end up in one solid state. Not this one. Okay, next bit is to add the milk. Now, when we add the milk, this is the bit that we don't have a precise amount. You need a little bit of feel on this one. You have to add enough milk to cover the matzahs so that they are all covered, so that the matzah can absorb the milk, but very importantly, that you don't end up with excess milk. So, that's probably just about right. Take a spoon and mix it in. And we mix it in to make sure all the dry pieces get wet. Now, if you end up with a little bit of excess milk, there's two things you can do. The patient and clever thing to do is to wait until it all absorbs into the matzah. That, number one, improves the taste of the Matza Brei. And number two, doesn't waste any milk. The impatient thing to do, of course, if you're very hungry and you want to finish quickly, is to get rid of the excess milk and to drain the excess milk. But that won't be necessary here because it looks like we've got just the right amount. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave this mixture here for a while, absorbing the additional milk. Try and get as many of the drier pieces into the milk as possible. We'll leave it absorbing the milk while we move on to the egg. Okay, so moving on to the egg. Remember, it's 1 egg per matzah and a half. As I'm only making one portion here, I'm only going to use 1 egg. But you can use as many eggs as you want, as long as you do it in the right proportion. So, here's the egg. Mix very, very well. Do not add milk to this. It's very, very important that you don't, because there shouldn't be excess milk in any of the recipe. Otherwise, it won't solidify the matzah properly and you won't end up with one solid piece. Okay, that's well enough mixed, I think. There we go. Let's go back to our matzah and see how we're doing. Do we have excess milk? No, we don't. Mix it in just one little bit more. Make sure all the dry pieces are wet. And then we add the milk slowly, the egg slowly. Perfect. Now what you have here is the perfect Omi Matza Brei batter. Beware of fake alternatives or fake substitutes. This is the real thing. Okay, we're done with the batter. Let's move over to the stove. Okay, we are ready to cook. Now, what we need to do is we need to go on a medium heat. Very, very important, because if you go too high, the matza brei will burn and the middle of the matza brei will still be raw. No good. If you go too low, yes, you might get an even cook all around, but you're not going to get that crisp. Crisp is important. Okay, so we've got an even medium heat, maybe slightly lower than that. And we let the pan get a little bit hot, and we're going to add oil. Now, you can add lots of oil and shallow fry this. Unhealthy, very crispy, not my preference. My preference is just enough oil to get a good cover on the pan, a good cover. You can use spray and cook as well, as always, healthier, but not as nice. So, what we're going to do is we're going to give this about 20 seconds to heat up. So when we put the batter in, we get that fry and that, that frizzle. Okay, now what we're going to do here is we're going to remix this batter so that we get it all nice and even. Remember, we don't want too many bits of egg by themselves, too many bits of matza by themselves. We want a solid batter. This is not one of those matza breis where you end up with broken pieces of matza. It's a matza brei where you end up with one solid piece. So we're remixing the batter while the heat gets hot. Now, nice and hot. Again, move it around a bit so we've got a nice even spread of the oil, and feed it into the middle. Very important, we feed it into the middle. By the way, we use a medium size frying pan. Too small a frying pan would mean that it goes all the way to the edges and it's hard to work with and hard to flip. Too big a frying pan, and of course then it will become too thin as it goes out to the edges, which we don't want. We want a nice thick matza brei. This matza brei can probably be compared to French toast, if you will, rather than your kind of scrambled egg. Okay. Now, depending on the heat, because everyone's stove is different, it's about 1.5 minutes on each side. So we're now going to wait 1.5 minutes before we flip this. Okay, as we can see, it's cooking really nicely. It's been cooking for about 1.5 minutes, and you can see that the edges are starting to show a little bit of crisp, a little bit of brown, which is great. Now, we're going to flip it carefully, but if you follow the recipe well, it should flip perfectly. We look for underneath, and over it goes. And that's perfect. We've now had 1.5 minutes on the other side. We're going to just check that it's done nicely. It never looks quite as crisp on this side, because of course a lot of the oil's been used up, unless you shallow fry, but it's perfect. Perfect size, you can feel for the consistency, it's great. Take a plate, and on it goes. Ready to be eaten. Okay, this is Yehuda. This is Omi's favorite great-grandson. And also, probably the biggest fan of matza brei in the house. As I said earlier, lots of things can be put on the matza brei: savory, sweet, cheese, cottage cheese, say on the savory side, on the sweet side, chocolate spread, strawberries, cream, whatever you like. But it's best, in everyone's opinion, I think, cinnamon and sugar and syrup. Okay. Yehuda, it's all yours.
It's probably my favorite recipe. Okay.
Have a look at the inside. That's probably the perfect matza brei. Thank you, Omi, and thanks for watching.